Hello, you're watching Executive Women Focus on China from ITV Asia. I'm Sharon Landon, your host for today. I'd like to welcome our guest today, Annie Yu. Annie, thank you for being here with us today.
Hi, good to see you again, Sharon.
Okay. Annie is currently the East Region Manager for Schneider Electric China investment company.
Yes.
She has a bachelor's in administration management and also a minor
in the chemical engineering
from the East China University of Science and Technology. Now, Annie, why don't you start off by telling me a little bit about your background and how you come to the position of where you are today?
I have to say I'm a 100% Chinese locals, which means I was born here and grew up in China, in Shanghai. All my education background, working experience are in China. And I have been in sales and sales management for over 8 years, and that's including 3 years in Siemens. So my background, previous background also including a marketing consultant, technology consultant, those kind of functions. And my experience in Siemens was very related with solution, product selling, as well regional sales function. That's why I think Schneider was also, during the process, transformed the company in the similar way as Siemens today. So they offered me the opportunity to join them.
Mm-hmm. So it was a very seamless
Yes,
journey.
yes.
All right, so Schneider is the company that you work for, but you're actually in the division of TAC.
Yes. Let me explain a little bit. We call Schneider as a mother company. Schneider own partial of the shares of the TAC, which the full name actually is Tool and Over Controls. Mm-hmm. Our headquarters is in Sweden. Actually, acquisition is a very important strategy for Schneider. The acquisition of the TAC actually helped Schneider to complete their offer in the electric product line, mm-hmm. which I know it's very industrial, but before they mainly are electrical power part, but now they are going to more actual low voltage, which means more going to building automation, security, energy management, those kind of area, which is TAC focus.
Also, they're just, you mentioned acquisition, they're just diversifying
yes, their business. Yeah.
Okay. Now, back to acquisition. Before we get to that, why don't you tell me a little bit about your responsibility then with TAC?
Yeah. My job role is Region East Manager. My 80% of time is like any other general manager in the company or region managers. I have my objective is to achieve very aggressive business growth. Mm-hmm. Which I can say is probably more than the GDP growth in China. And it's not only say we have to get the order, we have to ensure the revenue coming, but at the same time, we have to also ensure we get very good EBIT margin in China. Actually, if you are purely a product or machine company, it will be a very tough time in China because, it's always, by the end, the competition is always about cost. Mm-hmm. That's why, I also have to spend about 20 of my time to look at what's the new business. Actually, that's also the main objective of Schneider and TAC. We're starting transform the company from 100% product channel sales to solution and direct sales. Mm-hmm. And we're starting doing business for more service, more consulting, selling, and those kind of roles. And we start, I have to say, very late than our competitor, mm-hmm. but we got a very good team. And one of my objectives also have to build and have trained and keep a very professional team for tomorrow's business. And of course, because TAC is also a new animal, a new family to Schneider. So as a manager, we always have to do dealing with a lot of coordination with a lot of internal departments, Schneider headquarters, and also TAC also acquire more new companies. We, in these 2 years, we acquired 2 global players into our line. So it's always new member coming, so we get to know each other. So the family is growing. So it's very tough and challenging job.
So you say that Schneider acquires companies, and then
Yes,
TAC,
we
all
also
the divisions
acquire.
under them also acquire.
We acquire others too.
Okay, I can imagine that that's very causes for a very complicated system, because
Yes.
whenever you're acquiring companies, you have to deal with different cultures that come in of the people that are working there, but you also have the different corporate cultures that
Yes.
also. So how are you handling this type of challenge, or is Schneider or even TAC taking steps to eliminate some of these problems or challenges?
I have to say it's always what we call like a painful honeymoon time. So, it's just getting to know each other take for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when Schneider acquired TAC in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
actually it's spent almost like 2 years then the supply coming to China. And then 1 year later, then actually starting building the real team based on very local experienced team. So they give a time, first is observe, we have to understand. So Schneider didn't do anything, okay, I buy you, I just change you 100% Schneider. That's not the way Schneider wants, because there's a message always Schneider is trying to giving is, we are coming to China, we are local with you, and we understand China market. So actually that's a give opportunity, like new member like TAC, we say, okay, so we also trying to understand you, bring our culture, our understanding, and then eventually merge is the new culture. Same thing like we merge American Invensys. It's actually a very famous building automation company too. It's take quite a long time because TAC starts very aggressive in the market, but Invensys is more traditional way. You have to educate the new members. Say this is the team spirit. You have to catch up. Then you with the team. So I think it's kind of fun. Actually, I think the acquisition is full of fun. So I really like it. I just hope I can get more knowledge, about acquisition, which the pretty background things. But I have to say it's a tough job. But I learn a lot.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned aggressive a couple of times now. Schneider has a very aggressive acquisition. TAC also.
Yep.
And you also mentioned that your team has been given very aggressive goals to reach.
Yes.
Now, obviously you're doing a great job, but and every year I think a lot of multinational companies that are coming into China, they see the growth of China, and they put to their teams a lot of aggressive growth that they need to reach. Now, do you see it as in something that is really achievable in regards to the steps every year that it's being raised up, or do you find that it's a bit difficult and you need to really gather all your team and really make them work very, very
I'm not sure if my boss is watching this video or not, and I definitely say I will achieve it. But anyway, average, because I got the experience in Siemens, then now is in Schneider. Multinational company like these two, they always looking 20 to 30% growth every year. And but when they for the new business, for example, TAC is to them, to Schneider is a new business. So we actually we are talking about more aggressive numbers. I don't talk others for my region. By Q3, we actually, our sales is 80% growth than last year. So you ask me how we did it? Of course, we got more people. Then secondly, we changed the playground. If you come up to China, you copy all the things exactly your competitor does. And what you can do is you always compete with the price. And then you probably have to steal people from your still customers, still staff, or you do everything exactly everybody doing, and you can't ensure you get a good EBIT and a margin which can make you sustain in the future for tomorrow. I always told my customers, if you bargain me to if I don't have profit, I can't guarantee I was still in this market for next year or in the next 10 years. So then, in that case, we can never say we are growing, we are partners in China. So that's the concept we're trying to do. So in the other way, we say we're trying to do is giving solution. You have to jump out what's, all those controls, all those machines, what exactly you got. You're selling your know-how, selling your specific knowledge in certain area. For example, TEC is very good for energy management, facility management, which is very common in Europe and America. But in China, the government just realized how much energy they can save. So that's the trend. If you catch up, and then we're talking about, more than 30% of growth opportunity. And on the other word, we starting selling to building, but we design certain solution to a customized, offer. For example, a hotel. Hotel have a very different requirement than a commercial building, or a very different, requirement from airport.
Right.
So you can offer different, things. Then we provide service. We provide very professional engineering team. So then your customers see your value, and then they pay for it. Maybe I say 5 or even 10 years ago, Chinese customer wouldn't appreciate about it, but today they do.
So what makes you think that, what's changed that has made them embrace this? Like you said, it's always been about price and whatever that they can cheaper.
I think the Chinese customer already suffered from paying for lower costs. Then, I think the peak time for Chinese economic growth is around 80 something. So I think a majority of the big building 80s, 90s, I do hear a lot of problems they got. Because at that time, they only care, I want to pay for the lowest vendor. Then today, they can't find the vendor for maintenance or for replacement. Then second, if they want to upgrade, then they have to do, restart the whole, bidding again. So they say, we have to looking for a long term. You can't destroy a building every 10 years. That's not really economic way. So I think, of course, China is more open now, especially places like Shanghai and Beijing. I think we got more and more people, they be working with multinational companies, they go abroad or working or used to work or live in other countries. So they also get the concept. So Chinese now is more open, say, for the Western business culture or those things. So I think the education is cost quite a long time, but I think the customer, they are learning now.
Right, through bad experience and the realization that they need to, right. Now, we mentioned before, you mentioned that a lot of your positions recently is more been in sales and customer relations service.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think is one of the most important aspects of your job that makes you successful, or that,
Honestly, I think as a woman leader, when the God created a woman, the advantage given to a woman is she's really good at communicate. She knows how to show the empathy. She's trying to understand that's advantage. I think most of the time I don't see a male leader would behave in the same way. So in a team, most of the time a manager doing is coordinate and communicate. So she or he actually is a bridge. So I think a woman leader got those kind of advantage. So let the team to trust, and then she will, trying to be not like a sister or maybe not mother, but like a sister, mentor part. So that's the advantage part. And from my experience, yes, I'm 100% local background, which actually is a plus. You'll be surprised how few Chinese women will be still maintain a position like me, because my position is more on sales. It's very pressure, very challenging position. And so I think, I be dedicated in the sales area in the same industry, which build up the portfolio, which, people who went to other country then coming back, which they really can't catch up those kind of background. So I think, that's the advantage, what I got in my job.
Okay. Now, how do you, as a executive woman or a local executive woman, think that other people would view you? I mean, how did they see you in this type of position, either the expatriates or even your peers, local?
I don't know about the others, but most of my colleagues or my subordinates, they always give me the comment, say, "Oh, we never regard you as a woman." So of course I don't want to hear that from guys. But I have to say, on the other way, it's kind of compliments. Mm-hmm. Means they accept me, because in our business, it's very industrial business. You imagine 90% of the customer you see men, and probably 70%, over 70%, your colleagues are male too. And the rest of the women are in the marketing, human resource, those kind of functions. So very few people still survive in sales organization, especially become a leader for a region. So I think it took quite a long time for them to accept a woman to leading them. But on the other side, I know, which I hear from people, from my client, they always ask me, say, how you still keep in, a function which is more related with sales? Because, there's always ceiling, say, when you reach a certain age, there's always a glass ceiling for a woman. Mm-hmm. The question actually is, first, how many time or energy you can be dedicated to the job? You probably have to travel, 2-3 days in other cities or maybe other countries every week. And you will be, request, to reach quota every month. And you always got, new challenge and new deadline to reach. And, that's the things at first I call that maybe you have to up to how energetic or physically strong you can do it. But on the other hand, also about, say, as a woman, sometimes it could be a little bit hesitate when coming to certain what we call crisis time. Mm-hmm. So I saw the difference. I mean, women more prefer to consulting and analysis, mm-hmm. and then make a conclusion. But guys, leaders, they can make a decision right away. Even doesn't matter, say, right or wrong. But sometimes you have to make decision immediately. So there are differences between women and male. So I understand there are people really evaluate or look at women in this way. So honestly, very few companies, when they come into, I want a general manager or region manager in my organization, their priority first definitely given to guys. Mm-hmm. So I know that's the thing. Obviously, maybe expatriate, they can understand, say, oh, we are more accept a career woman. But when they come to China, they have to reconsider, because, for example, if your woman manager to going to deliver a baby, according to Chinese law, she could have 3 months after delivery. Mm-hmm. So can you imagine a general manager be disappeared for 3 months, and who's going to follow up all those quarters and all the headquarter matters? So those are issues really. In China, there are certain what we call legal issues or environment actually really block, especially career women to going higher level. And most, I think, is only people got those concepts in their mind. But I think it's changed.
Right. So in the future, I would hope that because now in the West, of course, the women-men issue has always been around as well in the working place. So I think maybe what you're saying is China is a little bit behind, but I think nowadays there are quite a few executive women climbing up the ladder, and there's a need, because globally there's actually statistically there is a great increase of women leaders based on what you mentioned before, the empathy and ability to communicate and work with people from other cultures, which is very necessary in today's global marketplace. But I also wanted to just mention that I understand that you've been chosen by your company to participate in a MBA class given by CEIBS. So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
I know that it's really hard to balance what you're telling me of your aggressive goals, and also balancing that with taking a class. So Good luck to you. And,
Thank you.
I thank you very much for coming and talking with us today and sharing some of your insights with us. Thank you for watching ITV Asia. See you next time.